welcome to another edition of the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralph East. Thanks for being here. The old gang, Big John Melkowski, St. John's Radio Network here. And the guy whose his own mother thinks he's boring.
Apparently, if I don't bang my head on the desk, I am boring.
Marty Ben,
There.
protagonist, Ferry Mortgage, and the like. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Well, let's start. Should I do? I should do the joke, but
Yes,
go
ahead.
The joke was the Browns finally got a Pro Bowl kicker. That was the joke.
Oh, yeah. There were enough different. John and I were trading some texts about the different tweets that went on after the trade.
We are not making light of what he did, okay?
No.
Don't email Marty.
Oh, my phone is already blowing up. I'm just not going to look down at it because it's already. And yes, that's me being a hater because I don't understand this again.
He has not been reinstated. Well, first of all, do they really need him?
No.
But it's a buy low. There's no risk in it because he's on the exempt list, so they can't pay him.
I know, but they already got their running back, so why even take this on? That's I guess.
Well, they have a third down back as well. They've got a player that can do both and a third down back. So what do you? I don't know.
Well, but he's also. It's not just a 1 year thing because after 2019, he's a restricted free agent, so they'll still be able to control what he does after that.
Right.
And all of us know running backs don't last in the NFL. The more running backs you can have, the better. But for 2019, we have no idea how long he's going to be suspended for. They still haven't said because the Chiefs cut him right away, so they didn't have to make a decision. But now that he's on a team, they're going to have to decide how long they're going to suspend him for. It could be 10, 12 games, and he could only play a quarter of the season, maybe.
Well, but I've seen opinions it might be time served because the Chiefs doled out the punishments, the NFL didn't have to, and there's people saying it might be very, very short. And I don't know what to think about the risk.
This is what drives me nuts: is that there's no standards whatsoever. If you do this, you're going to get this. If you do this, you're going to get this. There's no standard.
Well, because
every time this happens, nobody knows what to expect.
Well, because their standard was 2 games is what's written. But then the Ray Rice thing happened, and then everybody saw they suspended him for 2 games, and then everybody saw the video and said, ooh, maybe 2 games is not enough. And now it's just the Wild West. It's just however much they want to do. And we all knew he was going to get signed by somebody, right?
Yeah.
He's too good to not be signed by somebody.
Right.
So it was just a matter of time before somebody signed him. It's just the Browns.
I'm trying to not say anything really stupid at this point. All right, fine.
Well, what should the penalty be?
Well, the problem is the NFL's penalties on these things are rectal fresh. You have no idea what's coming next, and they pull it out of their 4th point of contact. And I think they make it up on the fly, and then the smellier it gets, the worse the punishment gets when it comes out, because they have no idea. They just hang it out there and see what's about to happen. It's awful, and no one knows. The fans don't know, players don't know, management doesn't. I don't think the NFL knows half the time.
Well, and even this same incident, they had already supposedly looked into it and knew about this incident before the video came out. And nothing happened until the video. And then again, the video came out, and that's when we react. The NFL does this all the time.
Come out with something and stick with it, though. Some kind of standards. Because you could argue that if he's not in jail.
Well, okay, so I'm going to be biased. So as a Cowboys fan, please explain to me how what we definitely know Kareem Hunt did compared to what maybe did or didn't happen that Zeke Elliott was involved in, how you juxtapose those two. Is there a smoking tape we haven't seen on that one? And by the way, in this day and age, how does that happen that it doesn't eventually get out for some amount of money?
Well, Greg Hardy was the same way, with what...
Greg Hardy was awful. Well, some of the things that...
But there was no video of what he did, so he got off lightly.
Right. I said it. I'll say it again. I know it's a gross term, but rectal fresh. These policies, they just pull it out and hope it works.
This is almost like politics. And somebody does something. Should they resign? Should they be censored? Should they be? And nobody knows there either.
Well, and then it's, do they seem sincere and apologetic? And do we believe they've changed? Or did they try and hide it at first and then only later get caught? Well, none of that changes the actual reality of what was or wasn't done. I mean, what would you expect Hunt to do? Oh yeah, I was an idiot, as opposed to I don't know, it was a group of people and try and make it go away.
Right.
I mean, what young person? I have 2 sons. My oldest son has done really stupid things in his life, and I can't remember the time where he wasn't sure he was for sure caught that he fessed up. Right, but the minute the minute he was done, right, the facts were unmitigated. It was clear that there was no way out of it. Well, then all of a sudden, the truth serum, coursed through his veins, and little bits and pieces of admission came out. Why are you laughing? It's just what young people do. They don't want to get out in front of it, and apparently, immature old people do the same thing.
Because it's not just your son.
Well, that's what but I was saying. I mean,
most people in society are that way.
Oh, I didn't do it. Well, it wasn't what you thought. All right, that was a stupid decision. Oh, I'm really, really, really sorry.
Yep.
Watch an old MASH episode when Frank took the gun out of the gun barrel. And did you learn anything? Yes. If you take something, never ever give it back. Because nobody's really sorry they did anything. They're just sorry they got caught.
Exactly.
And nobody ever does anything thinking they're going to get caught.
Oh, I think people are sorry after the fact. I think in the moment they're not conscious, or they just wouldn't have done it. But I think people, I maybe have a little more hope for humanity than you. I mean, I think there's something in there that people know right and wrong.
You're going to lose a night's sleep if they don't get caught? Probably not.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think more people lose a night's sleep than you think, and it might just be worrying about getting caught as opposed to the act itself. But
but there's got to be something inside you to hit or kick a woman. I'm sorry.
I understand.
I'm sorry. Because I can't conceive of a scenario.
Here's the part that I struggled with all week. You're changing the culture of the franchise that has been something of a disaster, front office wise. You do the Josh Gordon cut last year, and then he goes and is able to keep playing for the Patriots before he finally has his meltdown or whatever. You're a couple years removed from Manziel and all the other things, and this is your number one first offseason move. Of all the franchises, you'd think, no, I'm staying clear of this right now. It just seems like this is the one place where you'd say, no, not doing it. And no, both feet in. I don't get it.
Well, that's what I said. They don't need him, so I don't know why they're taking it on.
Yeah.
I could see the Raiders doing it.
I could see a lot of teams doing it.
Yeah. If you're looking for a running back, I could see a team taking the chance of doing it if they're a 500 team or a sub 500 team.
He is a cowboy at $1 million a year backing up Zeke Elliott. There's a lot of places you could see doing it, but not when you already have that problem.
All right, we got some more NFL stuff that we're going to get to. And we're going to do that next, as a matter of fact. And you're watching the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. We'll be right back.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good, no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, B-I-H-N, at fairwaymc.com.
Red Wing Shoes, a quality built to last, just like the legacy of service at your Red Wing Shoes dealer, North Reynolds at Bancroft in Toledo. Family owned and operated since 1982. 4 generations building a legacy of quality and service for years to come. Our sales staff has over 95 years selling and servicing Red Wing shoe products, and we have the largest selection of Red Wing shoes in Northwest Ohio. Irish Setter, Works, and our USA-made heritage shoes. In stock, no waiting. Red Wing Shoes, North Reynolds at Bancroft, where service, quality, and fit come first.
All right, back we are, the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Laughing already? Why are you laughing already?
I was thinking to myself at the break, we're going to talk more NFL. Somebody please explain to me how John Elway is a great GM, other than he lucked into a Super Bowl by trying out Peyton Manning, who by the time they won the Super Bowl was, this old wheeled.
Had lost the job to Brock Osweiler.
Okay, so a Peyton Manning that was on the twilight of his career that had no other job at the moment. Brock Osweiler, trade up a lot to sign draft Paxton Lynch, go get Case Keenum, and now are going to grab Joe Flacco, and we're talking about him as still being a great. No, I mean, at what point in time?
Who's we? I never have.
Well, there were a lot of people. Oh, yeah, they're going to be Super Bowl
I think
winner.
you took
Super
me
Bowl.
to task, as a matter of fact, when I.
Oh, he's awful. And this last signing is craziness. Craziness.
You get a decent quarterback for nothing. I mean, a 4th round pick, 5th round pick. Who knows what a mid-round pick is?
$20 million.
I guess we'll.
$20 million cap hit. They're going to have 28 and change tied up in their 2 quarterbacks, assuming they keep Keenum.
Yeah, and if you got a running back, then.
I mean, $28 million is supposed to get you Aaron Rodgers. Oh, wait, it could also get you Matt Statfiller. Never mind, Elway's still a genius. Is that where your brain was going? Okay, so if your choice for $28 million is Case Keenum and Joe Flacco or Matt Statfiller, I guess John Elway's a genius. But only if those are the only 2 choices.
I mean, I don't think it's a terrible trade. I mean, other than having 2 overpriced quarterbacks.
He hates Flacco. He hates anybody that's not a Dallas quarterback. So.
What are you
Or
talking
Tom
about?
Brady.
I'm not I mean, Brady he keeps winning, and it's very hard to hate. I mean, I don't like him at all, but it's hard not to respect him.
All right. Antonio Brown, if your team could get him, do you take him?
Nope.
For a year or 2, yes.
I'd take him.
Any longer than that, I mean, he's already 31. Wide receivers.
Diva wide receiver whose best years are probably behind him, who's on maybe a slow burn decline or whatever else. And, oh, by the way, the minute he's unhappy, tries to dictate terms and doesn't show up.
Sounds like a cowboy to me.
Wow.
Jerry, no. Jerry, no. I mean, can you imagine what Jerry would think if he could get that for whatever the salary was and have he and,
Do you think he's not a premier receiver anymore?
I think he's a premier receiver. I just don't know that he's worth the cap hit. Again, we're talking about he's under contract, which is the part that gets left out of this whole thing.
For 1 more year. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you can get him for a year and not have, I mean, the Pittsburgh thing, they want 2 firsts and 2 seconds or whatever.
Just be prepared to throw him the ball. If you're not prepared to throw him the ball, then don't pick him up.
To me, this is a lot like the Anthony Davis thing in the NBA and whatever else. I mean, when you start as a player dictating terms like that, when you're under contract and there's not this, not some horrible thing that happened to you other than it just didn't go your way this year. I don't know that I want
NBA is a whole different thing to me because one player in the NBA on a team can influence a team much more than one player can on a football team.
Right, but in the NBA,
team.
they get guaranteed contracts, which means that you have to pay them one way or the other, which means when you start dictating terms like that, it's even more brutal. And, I mean, I kind of like
Well, we could talk about that because the way it's set up in the NBA is awful. It's awful.
Well, and
you have a system where one team can load up like Golden State did. What's the point?
And that's why teams like Sacramento and Phoenix haven't been relevant for 20 years.
And have little hope of being relevant anytime soon.
Oh, they're not the only ones.
Oh, no. I'm just throwing them out there because you almost forget they're in the league because you don't hear anything about them.
How long do you think it's going to be before Cleveland has a winner?
Pistons.
Well, that's been a long time because they're stuck in the middle.
Yep.
Which is the worst place to be. Sneak your way into the playoffs, miss the lottery, and don't get the big draft pick. I mean, you have to get really lucky in the late first round to change your stars, right? I mean, somebody has to fall in your lap that turns out way better than everybody thought, and then you have a chance. Other than that,
who bothers you more, Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown? See, Le'Veon Bell doesn't bother me at all.
Well, he's sad he didn't get paid.
You want to play? Don't play.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that for,
It's not like he's there causing problems. He's not there.
Well,
not coming in.
And they franchised. I mean, it wasn't, to me, they also franchised him, 2 years in a row instead of giving him the deal. Gurley goes and gets the deal, and that, I mean, I'd have been chapped, and he was mad.
Yeah, how's that working out for the Rams?
Look, I'm not saying if I was the Steelers, I wouldn't have done what they did, and I'm not saying if I was Bell, I wouldn't have done. I mean, sometimes the best deal is no deal.
There's a lot of fantasy football players that are really worried about Gurley next year.
Oh, as they should be.
Especially if you're in any kind of keeper league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Brown to me is way more egregious. I mean, he got his money and then pouted. And, I mean, that team was still theoretically on the cusp of playoffs about the time he decides to pout and be a big baby.
And this is supposedly just because they didn't name him team MVP or best wide receiver or whatever.
That sounds like Terrell Owens, doesn't it?
I believe we started a segment and I said diva wide receiver, and I'm sticking with nope.
Well, one other thing in the NFL before we move on is that, it's come out about Bob Costas and why he's not on NFL anymore. And now he's gone from NBC. I imagine he'll just do baseball on the Baseball Network and do what he wants to do. But you can't, apparently, can't bring up concussions and keep your job. The NFL, I think NBC is worse than
for capitulating,
than the NFL.
Correct.
By letting the NFL dictate who they put on their games.
Correct.
And not sticking up for their guy.
Well, and everything that I've read, it wasn't that he was going to indict the system. He was just going to try and talk about the issue publicly to get it out there and say.
But they don't want that.
No, they don't want anything about it. I mean, they just want to do the bird box thing and put the blindfold on. And
now I understand they're looking at it as we're paying $1 bazillion.
So you're saying Costas was hoping for the end of A Few Good Men at the whole thing. Roger Goodell, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what he was hoping for.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't get to collect the $1 bazillion and dictate terms.
Well, apparently they do.
That's incorrect.
Well, only if they let them.
Well, guess what? Because they're the game in town, and
the Amazon guy didn't let them let anybody blackmail him.
If they don't want Sunday Night Football, somebody else will.
Well, yeah, there's somebody always willing to step in and do it.
It's still the ratings king.
Yep.
But I've never been a huge Bob Costas fan, really. I respect what he's done, but I respect the heck out of what he did.
Yeah, he got hosed on this one. He was treated.
I don't think he's going to be eating ramen anytime soon, but still.
No, I think he'll be okay.
Unceremoniously?
Yeah, that.
Wow.
Ceremoniously. Kind of shunned the door.
Yeah, he got wronged.
All right, I'm going to take my mouth in for a checkup here during the break. And we'll come back and, to make John's dad happy, talk a little baseball. You're watching the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, BIHN, at fairwaymc.com.
Powerbomb Wrestling is now available for live performances at your business or fundraiser. You can have a live Powerbomb Wrestling show either inside or outside to attract potential customers to your business. Also, PBW Wrestling can help you raise thousands of dollars for your nonprofit organization or charity. Find out more about the power of Powerbomb Wrestling and help your organization today. Contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at our website at pbwexcitement.com. back on the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Don't forget, anytime after 9, half-priced appetizers, but anytime. There's wing specials, great burgers, sandwiches, wraps, salads for Marty.
I get a salad every time
All
I go.
kinds of draft beer, so.
I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep now because you're going to talk about baseball, and I'm unaware that anything interesting in baseball happened all week. So I'm going to go ahead and take a nap.
Well,
for
that's
the last
kind of the point
I mean,
that we were going to get to here.
the NFL is
There's
2 weeks
still
out of their season.
dozens and dozens of players still sitting out there unsigned
Including the top 2 guys.
as we tape.
Right. An awful lot of really good baseball players are unsigned.
I can't get to collusion at this point. I can't get there. I think there's a number of things working here. I think for one, you have the luxury tax, which is really working as a de facto salary cap because teams are trying to stay under it. 2, you had a huge increase on what relief pitchers are getting paid, and I think that's draining revenue off the top. So I think you got those 2 things working.
You sound like a Republican senator with your no collusion.
No. No.
Well, I think
You really want to drag me there.
Yes,
and I'm
I
not
do.
Going.
But I'm saying if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it's
I'm not going there.
you spray water in its back and it shakes
Send
it off
your
like a
emails
duck.
to marty.bin.
Fairwaymc.com. Go ahead, fire it up.
There you go.
I'm just saying, I mean, at some point in time, there has to be some collusion. Because there's always an owner, after a couple cocktails wanting to impress his friends.
Well, who's done a 10-year contract and they've been happy with it?
Well, but the difference is these 2 guys are 26 years old. Usually when a guy signs a 10-year contract, he's 32.
Yeah, it's usually Albert
Which
Pujols.
means it's Pujols or Cabrera who, when they get to 38, 39.
Now, I know Harper's a Boris guy.
Yeah.
Is Machado? I don't think Machado
I don't think
is.
so.
Because Boris is always pushing the market. It's important to him to push the market more
But
than
still,
anything else.
each guy has their flaws, if you want to say. I mean, Machado plays the more important position, being shortstop, even though
Poorly.
the metrics say he's not very good at it, but he does play short. But Harper is a better team guy. I mean, when Machado came out in the postseason last year and said, "Well, I'm not Johnny Hustle. That's not what I do." I mean, right there, it turned me off to him.
I've said this for a long time. I think your best player on your team has to be somebody that can lead by example.
And I mean, Bryce Harper has always played that way.
Do you think that matters in baseball these days?
Yeah, I do.
Don't.
I do.
I don't know.
There's so much downtime and so much time for everybody to sit around and talk and watch each other. And yeah, I mean, I think it is easier.
You got to be a grinder and you got to be ready to play. And I still think hustle's important, although many people don't anymore.
Well, and baseball's such a mental game too. I mean, as a hitter, you can so easily get yourself out of whack. And
There's a guy that plays, star that plays 60 miles up the road in Detroit that doesn't like to run out ground balls and things like that. And I just don't think that's, they never did win a title with that group. I'm not saying it's all his fault.
No, I mean, you look.
You also had Dombrowski that wouldn't put a bullpen together, and now he doesn't want to re-sign Kimbrel. Oh, we'll find somebody. Boy, does that sound familiar.
Yeah, and the top 100 prospects just came out, and guess what? The Red Sox don't have one.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar, Tiger fans?
Deja vu all over again.
Exactly.
All over again.
Deja vu all
Except
over again.
they won in Boston.
Well, right.
He did win.
Well,
with
they did, but he didn't really necessarily put that
them.
team together either.
Right. A lot of it was there when he got there, but
He
Sometimes
was
it's
able
better
to
to be
pile
lucky
a
than
couple of
good.
guys on at the end.
Yeah.
But I can't get to the collusion thing at this point.
no, I think it's a lot of smarter GMs and owners just looking at it and saying, I'm not going to tie up $30 million a year for the next 10 years.
But we're talking about 2 guys. What about the other 95 or whoever? I mean,
Well,
I tend to agree with you on those 2, both of you. My problem is there's an awful lot of viable talent that isn't going to cost you that much that would fill needs for teams that's also sitting out there that I can't explain.
But
There's guys like Dallas Keuchel that want a ridiculous amount of money.
and-
He wanted between 25 and 30 million for like 7 years, and he's 30 what?
No. And I mean, in any sport, free agency starts at the top down. You have to have the top dominoes fall before the other guys start following in line because, I mean, you've got all these teams who think they can sign one of these guys.
I mean, I don't know because Joe Flacco just got, allegedly signed and the season's barely cold.
That's not free agency, though. That's a trade.
But I'm saying, where's that happening in baseball where some of those dominoes fall? It just seems like nothing gets done for an extended
But that's always what, when Harper and Machado sign, those teams who didn't get them are going to say, well, okay, now we got all this extra money, and they'll start throwing it at the guys, the Dallas Keuchels and the guys in the lower tier that are still out there.
Atlanta went first. They threw some money at some guys right out of the
So you're saying this is an
gate.
executive game of chicken, right? We're all going to wait till somebody else blinks, and once they blink, then I make my decisions.
Well, you got a lot of teams that are not planning on being in contention, too.
Well, see, and to me, that's the issue. Is in the NFL, I think you have a much bigger pool of teams that think with 1 or 2 moves or 3 or 4 moves, they could be in the thick of it and get to the playoffs. And I think in baseball, if you're not one of 4 or 5 or 6 teams, you're pretty much out of it.
Well, Houston did it. The Cubs did it, where they just tore everything apart and then went ground up.
I was going to say,
come back and won.
Baseball is the one sport where tanking has proven to work.
Right.
I mean,
but I'm saying, if you're not one of those teams that's benefited from the tanking coming back up the fold, or you're not one of the teams that's got the big mega payroll at the top end, who are you?
Well, I mean, baseball, you've still got the A's who can compete. The Mariners compete. I mean, you've still got a lot of teams who are in the mid-range.
Compete to what level? I mean, to compete to championship level where your owner wants to throw that big dollars at it? Because I think that to me, that's the thing I watch is when's one of these big signings made a difference in who wins a championship? How long has it been?
I don't know. J.D. Martinez with the Red Sox last year?
Okay.
That comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me another one.
Well,
but I'm
I don't have
saying,
any prep here for that. Give me a day or two, and I'll sure
but I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't think you see where one roster move generally makes all the difference.
Well, because baseball is the ultimate team sport.
Andrew Miller a couple years ago, in the middle of the year comes over,
Well, that's what you got to wrestle with these guys. Is this a guy that I think if you stick Bryce Harper on the Astros, I think he makes a big difference in whether they have a chance for the World Series. Because right now, I think it's the Yankees and everybody else. I really do. I think they're a step above everybody at this point.
I mean, you stick him in Philadelphia, right with Rhys Hoskins right there, and put him in the middle of that lineup. And other than the 4 at-bats a game, a guy like that also affects the guy hitting in front of him, the guy hitting behind him. There's so much more that goes into it.
And Harper walked 130 times. That's the guy that I would want if it was me. I wouldn't want to go the guy that doesn't want to run out ground balls. I'm sorry. We got to go. Thanks again. And Mrs. Ben, I hope that he was a little more interesting tonight. and for your dad, we talked some baseball.
We did.
Saturday Night Live is next. Powered by Wrestling at 2 a.m. We'll see you next week back here for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.